Yo, D, I just wanted to say thank you for that, bro. Like, that was beautiful. It was authentic. You and your homie did a great job. And I feel like you touched on a lot of important parts of, fatherhood, literally. And me being 26 now and just learning myself and not having my dad in my life, I feel like I have had a lot of questions, as to like why my dad wasn't in my life. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to pick up that it's not my fault. It never was my fault. Yeah, I got in trouble here and there, but I wasn't a terrible kid, you know what I'm saying? And I just want to thank you for like just spreading that awareness, for probably even fathers that's, even younger than you. you know it's a great light, it's great energy. I really hope y'all keep going with the episodes. And man, bro, I'm proud of you. And man, I'm happy to see how far you've come, bro. It's a blessing. It's a real blessing. I hope we can link up soon. I haven't been to LA in a minute, but whenever I do, I'm gonna definitely hit your jack. We can get up, chop it up, grab something to eat. But love, brother. I love you, cuz. Thank you.
This is our second time recording this.
Hopefully the last. Welcome back to Fatherhood 365. This is episode 2.
Yep.
Super excited. First and foremost, we want to say thank you to everybody who gave us kind words of episode 1, who took their time to watch or listen to episode 1 and really give us feedback. We got nothing but positive feedback from episode 1.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate everybody who, encouraged us to keep going and keep providing this information about fatherhood. So thank you to all you guys, and hopefully we don't disappoint with episode 2.
Exactly. We can't have a downhill drop-off. So.
Nah, it's only up from here. It's only up from here.
As far as this episode, we're going to be touching on the lack of a safe space for dads. A lot of people grow up without the presence of a father figure, let alone a biological dad. So
Yep.
This is going to be framed on a couple questions. And that first question that we can kick off is, what support do you think fathers need? You can speak from your standpoint in general.
Yep.
What support do you think you need? And then after, what support do you have that maybe we don't really appreciate as much?
If I look and I think about what support I think fathers need, that's something that, man, that's a deep question. And if I really dive into it, I think it starts with a brotherhood, man. I think fathers, we are really on a lonely island. And even when it comes to, like, say my brother has a kid and I have a kid, we don't even really have conversations about how we're parenting and what do's and don'ts have I done. My son's 10, his son's 4. He doesn't ask me questions, and I don't even, give him feedback. So I really think it starts with a brotherhood of fathers and building a community of fathers that either A, are new parents, B, are parents that have had kids that are 20, 30, 40 years old, or C, parents that are pretty much the same age and going through the same thing. So
Exactly.
I really believe that the brotherhood is the most important thing. One thing I pride myself on is having a mentor. That's one of the resources that I go to, Jeremy. My older cousin is someone who I look at as like a trusted source who's been through so many things, whether it's business related, whether it's fatherhood related, ask some friendship questions, just anything on the planet Earth. I ask him and I get good feedback from him on things like that.
There's two things that you mentioned that I want to kind of like press into. The first thing you said was a brotherhood. As far as the brotherhood aspect, what about that do you think is supportive?
Because, man, there's times as a father where you get put in a position where you make a call and it could be the wrong call. And if you just had a little bit of advice, or you had someone that you can go to and ask a question like, hey, how would you handle this situation? Like, that would change your entire perspective on how to parent. And not saying that, that's always the right answer. Sometimes you have to go with your gut, but at least you get an opportunity to ask questions.
And you see another perspective
from other people and get another perspective.
Once you get to the point where you realize that you don't have an answer for it, what makes you, I guess, seek out a mentor? And then how do you select that person that you go to?
If you look at me in the camera, I'm like going through it in my mind. I'm deep thought because that's a very important, powerful question.
Yeah.
Because you don't just want anyone to be your mentor, or you don't want to just seek information from anyone. It has to be a validated source, so to speak. My mentor has been my big brother / mentor since I was a kid. So that was kind of like the easy part for me.
Yeah.
I validated his mentorship by seeing what he did every single day. I was just really like trying to find someone that I wanted to model my life after as a mentor.
Yeah, because like when I think about that, a problem that I have, especially being the oldest brother, is I don't know when to ask for help, and it's hard for me to select who to ask for help. I would kind of just be like, I don't want to burden someone else with maybe asking them a question that they can't answer.
You know what? That's normal. I was like that growing up too a lot, man. Like even though my cousin has always been my mentor, there were times where I would bump my head and not ask questions. And I just kept bumping my head, kept running into the wall, and I tried to figure it out myself. But it would take much longer.
Exactly.
And that's why I always talk about cutting the learning curve. Why learn something in 5 years when you can learn it in 2 by going to get support and help and learning from someone?
Yeah, I could definitely see that, because I don't think I started asking for advice until my daughter was born either. You know, like my grandfather would always sit me down to talk to me, but it was his overt effort that was kind of peeling the layers of whatever he saw. It wasn't me saying, hey, yo, Papa.
You weren't seeking it.
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
providing
and
the information.
I remember one of the first issues that I had as a dad was kind of like learning how to allow other people to help, because my wife's dad was very, very happy to have a granddaughter. You know, he was the last of his siblings to even be a grandparent, so he was very, very happy and very, very eager, and I didn't really know how to judge his eagerness. So I don't think it was jealousy, it was pride, but I would kind of feel a certain way when he would just kind of like barge into the room or barge into the house to kind of like play with Riley early on, and I didn't really know how to bring it up to my wife at first because it was all out of love, and I knew that. So one day I just went to my grandpa's house and I asked him, how should I feel about this? And it wasn't that he told me anything specific, but talking through it kind of allowed me to realize the selfishness on my end. You know, I was like, wait, this is extremely selfish of me to just have this level of possession over something that's not just mine. Like, yes, she's my daughter, but she's also his
granddaughter.
His granddaughter.
His family.
You know? And just talking to my grandfather, I'm like, here I am, a grandkid, talking to my grandpa. I love my grandfather.
Wow.
And I'm like,
full circle.
Why would I get in the midst of that? You know what I'm saying?
That's powerful.
Like, just
Here
talking
wait,
through
hold
that.
on. I'm sorry. Here you are, a grandkid talking to your grandfather about a question about a grandfather trying to spend time with his granddaughter. That's a perfect example.
Just while I was talking to him,
it's powerful.
I'm like, I'm a bonehead, man. Like, come on, man. Like here I am. But I mean, it was my daughter, it was my girl.
Right. First kid.
Exactly. So I didn't know how to feel about any of those things, you know? So, no, you guys are good. You guys are good. Nah, you're good.
No
we
problem.
want that. You're good. So I didn't know how to feel about any of those.
Thank you, brother. Or him.
I don't know. But we both got nice shoes on.
Yeah.
You know? But I know how to feel. But just that first time of just seeking the advice. And he ended up telling me that, you know, like, I shouldn't feel this way. I should kind of be more open to the help, because there's going to be a point where I'm going to want them to take on Riley to basically babysit. And we're at that point right now.
You know what's interesting about what you said? The biggest point I took out of that is when you said talking through that situation. And it's not even like you said, you didn't get any advice or the perspective came from you, but it was through talking through. And that's what I think people are missing. Fathers in general. We're missing that conversational aspect and that talking through situations instead of just having our own mind and our own, internal conversations. We need to have external conversations, and just to hear other people's perspectives can kind of flip and turn us in a certain direction.
That's
And
true.
that's what we're doing with the podcast,
That's
right?
true.
We're
That's
really
true.
just trying to help people through situations that we are going through and we know other people are going through as
Yeah.
well. We're here with Javier and Genesis. This is Javier's only child, right, Genesis?
Yeah.
And we wanted to ask Javier a question about fatherhood. The question I want to ask you, Javier, is what support do you have or do you need as a father?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think the support I have is from the Lord Jesus Christ. And
Wow, powerful.
And yes, I mean, that's the one that keeps me going, every day. And then the family. Family, it's first God, then family. Family, my wife, is always there. Without her support, I don't think I'll be able to do it. And then, well, her, that's my, my gas. That's my fuel. It's the one that keeps me going. And I always say that that's the best thing that we have. Like, if we don't have any family, we don't have anybody to work for, I don't think we'll be like, I mean, there's no reason practically to do anything. Like, why would you, wake up every day to, to go to work, to keep going if you don't have, like, someone that depends on you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your why.
Yes.
I love that, man. What do you do as far as support and resources, or do you have anyone in particular that you use as a resource for yourself as a father?
Yeah, so I know it's always the safe answer, but my ultimate support comes from Jesus. Just getting right, reading the Bible has taught me so much more than I've ever
He's not
learned.
crying, guys. That's
Yeah,
allergies.
maybe I am.
Maybe
But,
both.
but just waking up in the morning, starting off with prayer, getting into the Word has sort of gave me a perspective of different stories within the Bible, things that are like specifically said, and I'm able to find my own lane within that.
Right.
I went to a wedding, and it was a Christian wedding, and the pastor that was officiating was just detailing all the things the husband will have to do. And what I was able to see through that was everything that I am doing or need to do is all written there.
Right.
So regardless of how I feel about those things, the perspective comes straight from that source.
Right.
And then underneath that is I'm able to kind of get advice from my wife, because we've been together since we were teenagers, so she's quick on letting me know, hey, you need to play O'Reilly more. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do that. So it's like all within the household.
Right.
Then when I think about seeking advice, it's obviously my grandfather. My grandfather he's in his 70s now. He has a few kids. He has some stepkids. He's been married, I think, twice. So there's a wealth of knowledge
wisdom, yeah.
Within that,
Right.
So
Right.
I'm able to go to him. But yeah, a question that I do want to lean into that kind of like goes within this is, what support do you have specifically that maybe you don't really lean into as much?
Man, that's a great question, and something I would really have to dive into and think about. I think you hit the nail on the head. Jesus is the number one and most important resource that we all have that we don't use enough. I think I definitely want to lean into that a little bit more and really build that relationship, because anytime that I have, briefly, even if it was for 20-second prayer, something happened, something clicked. There was a sense of relief, a sense of freedom, less pressure. So I think that ultimately is the biggest resource that I need to use more. You as a friend, I feel like using you as a resource more, asking you more questions, I think is very important, because at the end of the day, that helps build our relationship as brothers, as friends. And also, I get to get a perspective from somebody who knows me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell if I'm going off the deep end on something. You've been around me for 5, so you know the ins and outs of who I am. And family, the biggest regret I probably have as I've gotten older is like not staying in touch with my uncles, not staying in touch with my aunts, cousins, and really like once a week, however long, once a month, once a week, just hitting somebody up. Hey, how's everything going? You're in school? Oh, my nieces, my nephews, my baby cousins, just really trying to keep that glue and chemistry and build that relationship together.
Where do you think that comes from? The idea that there's something wrong with that? Because I have that problem too, where we don't call just to check in and kind of just like seek out just the well-being of those that are around us, because that's how we get that support.
Yep.
So like, where do you think that comes from?
I think for me to break that down, I think it's society, right? Fast-paced environment. Everyone has kids.
Yep.
Everyone has jobs. Everyone has bills. There's so much going on with social media. And I think we lose track of, this might sound corny, but the most important things,
That's so
which is
true.
family.
That's so true.
Like,
'cause-
it's like, Jerm, like, think about it, man. We only have a finite amount of time on this earth. And who we choose to spend that time with and the relationships that we choose to build are the most important thing.
Yep.
And most people, I haven't talked to some of my cousins in years. Years. And that's not a great thing. And I think that's something that, like, as a man, I know I need to change.
That makes me think, you know, like when I think about like what makes that corny, or what makes that wrong and stuff, and it's even hard for me to even come up with an answer, because my great-grandmother just passed away last November, and when I thought about the reasons why I wouldn't call, it was all reasons that don't actually matter.
Right?
You know, like when I think about whatever takes me away from talking to my brothers more, or talking to any family member more, it's all matters or reasons that don't actually matter.
Right.
You know, like life doesn't care about how much you have to work.
Right.
Life doesn't care about your goal to get a nicer car, bigger house, or whatever.
Right. Think about this. On the car ride home, you could easily pick up the phone and just call someone,
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man? Just wanted to touch bases, see how things been. You know, oh, how's your daughter? How's your son? So on and so forth. And people just are so stuck in their world, so
Yep.
stuck in their own mindset that they don't even remember to do that, or that doesn't even come across as a thought. Shout out to my Uncle James. My Uncle James is the patriarch of my family. This man is the glue that holds everything together.
Yeah.
My grandma was the glue. You know, Sunday after church, everyone goes over to grandma's house. They have a good time. You know, just due to her being alive, and she was, you know, in her 90s. I think she died at like 97, 98.
Oh, wow.
So we would always hang out after church. But my uncle has really took that mantle and ran with it. He goes to every kid, everyone's birthday, everyone's retirement, every celebration, every cookout, every family reunion. He's everywhere all the time. And I think it's even funny, he created this Facebook channel called Lenore's Tribe. My grandmother's name is Lenore. And every update, hey guys, X, Y, and Z is graduating, having a graduation party.
That's
like
That's
it's
sick.
legit, man. Dropping photos of, you know, he goes live at cousin's baseball game. Like, and I just, you know, that's what manhood is about. That's what like family is about. And being that catalyst to say, hey, this is important.
You know what sucks? As you're talking through these, and I'm like, some of us are that at work, and then we get out of work and we just shut that off.
And that's a great point. And you know why? It takes so much energy to be that. And then say you are that at work. When you finish that and you leave, you're like, I'm exhausted. I'm drained. It's hard to be that at work,
And
that
go
at home, that to your family, that to your friends.
Exactly.
It's like, who are you to yourself at that point?
Yeah.
And it's like, what's more important? And that's why I said to you, like, my focus this year is more about balance. My focus this year is more about my family, about my friends, about networking with people who can help foster those relationships.
Exactly.
Now that we're on this subject, and I'm thinking about like some of the other resources that I've used, maybe over the last 7-8 years, I've really been into reading and audiobooks, and I've gained a wealth of knowledge. I've gained more knowledge from audiobooks and reading books than I did from going to college.
Yeah.
Like literally self-development stuff, just confidence, all of these different things. Back in the day, there was a thing called a study.
Yep.
Right? Where men would go to, where they had bookshelves and they had tons of, you know, just knowledge-based things in their office, and they held meetings, and it was all done in their home. Nowadays, the study is gone, and we have what they call the man cave. Where do you think that got lost in translation? Why did we go from learning and knowledge and wisdom to sports, television, and BSing?
I think that it's two-part. On one, you have the removal of men in the household, which made us more selfish. And on the second part, and I guess they are connected, you have just the thirst for entertainment. So when you go back to Lyndon B. Johnson and the implementation of welfare, that incentivized households to be fatherless.
Right.
I think I read a book by Dick Gregory, and he was even saying that.
Shout out to Dick Gregory.
Exactly. And he was even saying that there are reports of the dads just being in the house, not even living there, but just being in the house to check on the kids, and they would remove the welfare benefits of that household just because the dad was just physically in the building.
Wow.
At one point. So what does that do? That makes women say, hey, no longer can you come inside the house.
Yeah,
We're going to just separate outside. Exactly. Or just no contact at all. So what that also does is it makes men that have kids or maybe don't have kids or whatever just thirst for fulfilling what they want and their own needs. No more is it, let me learn so I can help out the family. Let me learn so I can help out my kids.
Right.
No more of that. It's let me get as much money as I can so I can build out what I want. I would even say the thirst for entertainment goes back to men just being put in a position to only have to think about themselves. It's
Right.
hard to not be selfish if you can't even go inside the household.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
I know that was a very long-winded answer.
That was a
but-
great answer, and I think there's so many layers to this onion, right? There's so many things that need to be peeled back.
Yeah.
When you talk
Yeah.
about, the welfare situation, and we talk about, crack in the '80s and how stimulating people's mind from video games, and there's so many ththings that distract people. Say you don't have a mentor, you can go to the library
Yep.
and have thousands of mentors.
Yep.
What do you want to learn? You want to learn macroeconomics? Do you want to read a book about leadership? Do you want to learn about, cooking? Whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, there's so many different tools out there, and people just kind of let that stuff just die out and build dust. And I really believe that that's one thing that we can all do as a community starting today. There's tons of free books on YouTube that you can literally just go type in how to win friends and influence people on YouTube. 2-3 hour book comes up, and you can start to build that knowledge bank that can take you to the next level.
You know what sucks is the study turned man cave wasn't just a physical place being designed differently. What that did was it eliminated our ability to troubleshoot and to teach others how to troubleshoot, because
Powerful.
the idea of learning is a skill. Being good at learning is possible. Being bad at learning is possible. So it's not like, oh, if this person is exposed to this book, they'll be able to learn. Sometimes people will open up a book and just not have the ability to process what it is they're consuming.
If you were to pick one point that you would say where we should start as a community, as fathers,
Yep.
where are you starting with Riley?
It's tough because when I think about like what skills I want her to have, the number one skill is it's a two-part actually, I'm sorry, to think critically and to be able to find answers. Those are two things that are very important, because as smart as I was growing up, I was in the advanced programs, advanced classes, I didn't know how to find answers. So whenever I got to the point where I thought I had something figured out and then I didn't know exactly, okay, like, where do I go to find that answer, or something that didn't come naturally to me. And when I think about my daughter growing up, let's say she goes off to college, I want her to be able to troubleshoot any situation. I want her to know that, hey, there's a book for that,
Powerful.
or there's a website for that, because I didn't know that. Bro, I didn't know economics was a college degree until I was 25. I didn't even know I could major in that. I didn't necessarily know the granular details on becoming a lawyer. I knew that people were talking about it, but I didn't know I would have to go to these different types of schools and stuff. So I want her to be able to troubleshoot and be able to find answers.
That's so normal in our
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with me. Like even sports related, I didn't know about travel basketball, travel sports.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
about. I'm not gonna say I didn't know about college, but I didn't think about going to college till my senior year.
Yeah.
When I saw everybody filling out junior year,
Uh-huh.
ACTs, and everyone start to think about, oh, I'm going here or I'm going there, or wearing their college shirts or their college jackets. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man, let me figure out what the next step looks like for me. And I really was like upset about that it took me that long. And these kids have been groomed in different communities since they were young.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
your grandfather went to Yale,
Yep.
your father and mother went to Yale, you're going to Yale.
Yep.
And like you said about being a doctor or being a lawyer, like I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah.
I had no idea, like, or I didn't think about those things. And the cool thing now is what I'm starting to see is parents our age, whether they're in the black community, the brown community, whatever community they're in, they're starting to teach their kids these little details earlier and sooner and give them options.
A shift. Because people, you don't have to have lived a perfect life, or you don't have to be wealthy, but you know how to look back and say, I wish I would have did this, so now I'm going to teach them to do that a lot sooner.
Yep.
And I think that is something that I'm going to do because I didn't graduate from college. And one thing I have to remind my little brothers is, although I'm relatively successful, don't use me as an example. Do things the easier way. Go ahead and go to school. And I kind of teach them things that I regret not doing. My brothers ask me, like, hey, like, what do you regret not doing? It's, I wish I would have taken school seriously. But me thinking I was a know-it-all, I was like, I'll figure it out. And thank God I did, but don't use me as an example.
Yeah, that's a hard path. Like,
Yeah.
the I'll figure it out path, like, thank God I did too, right? But like, that's a tough road, and it's still a tough road as you continue to develop and grow. If you don't find your passion early, it is very difficult if you don't have a mentor, or you don't have a brotherhood, or you don't have people that you can go to and say, hey, I want to get here. How do I do that?
Yeah.
If you're just free balling it, or there's a great quote that I love. It says, a ship at sail with no direction is bound to crash.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
A ship at sail with no direction is bound to crash. So you always want to try to find direction as soon as possible in life. Whether, you want to be an astronaut or a basketball player or a doctor or a lawyer. If someone can figure that out sooner rather than later, a lot easier to get there in life. It definitely is.
Exactly.
We're here with Clint, father of 3, and I wanted to ask Clint, as a father, what support do you have or do you think you need on your journey in fatherhood?
Honestly, with that, like, it's really nothing that you can really prepare for. You know what I'm saying? You definitely need the support of your significant other. If you don't, you definitely need to put a community around yourself that can help you with anything, not just financially, but, you know what I'm saying, even like pickups, drop-offs, you know what I'm saying, a stable situation as far as like if you're putting them in sports or anything like that, it's a community that'll come and support them and see that they have a nice foundation around them.
Right, it's awesome. And then as far as resources, Clint, what do you feel like that you utilize as a resource for yourself, whether it's, the Bible, whatever the case may be, what does that look like for you?
Definitely devout in my faith. I take them to the church, you know what I'm saying, in the community there, they get to see people that's like-minded. Also, I rely on the sport heavily, you know what I'm saying. I played sports myself. My father was there, my mother was there, but I still got support outside of the household as well with coaches and, you know what I mean, people who wanted us to do better. So I try to give my kids the same that I had, you know what I'm saying, and just learn from that, man. I lean on recs like this and, you know what I mean, just put them a part of a different community that's going to help build them up for sure.
So just to finalize everything and kind of wrap everything up on episode 2, some of the resources that we both use, right? The Bible, Jesus and God, of course. Mentors, people in our life that we can go to and get advice from. We would love to have a community of men that we can go to and have these different dialogues and discussions and get perspectives from. Family. Family has been huge and something that we both kind of want to dive in even deeper into, and I suggest everyone do. Pick up the phone, call someone, anyone. Close your eyes, pick a number, and call that number. What was the other ones that we put in place?
Honestly, those were the most important.
The main ones,
Those were honestly the most important. And as much as I want to point people to Jesus, doing the easy things like hitting up your little brother, hitting up your older brother, hitting up your cousins, hitting up family, that will give you the greatest sense of support than anything else. and I'm speaking to myself. Like, I'm saying I need to do that because we all come from somewhere, and at some point we kind of deterred away from it. You know, any dad that would say like, I don't have the support system that I need, we have to own where we're going wrong with that and saying, like, you know what, we're also not asking.
I used to do this a lot, and I still kind of, maybe this is one of the reasons I haven't reached out, is I would always say to myself, well, they haven't reached out to me. They didn't call me. Instead of taking the initiative. And I think about it as giving, right?
Yeah.
It's always better to give than it is to receive. And I know that's cliche, but it's so true, right? When you give your time, when you give your energy, it just opens up a world of possibilities on both sides, in any space you're in. So adding value, I think, is a big point that I really want to say, and that's, I have to get away from saying, well, this person didn't do that, so I'm not going to do it. I think I just need to take that leap of faith and say, you know what? Whether they call me or text me ever again, I'm going to start doing it. You know what I mean?
You and me both. And hey, I think that's a good place to end. I mean, we're starting to lose a little light stuff too.
So just to add, thank you guys. If you made it this far in episode 2, we really appreciate you guys. Shout out to everybody who watched episode 1. If you haven't, go back and watch episode 1. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Wait. Comment what you're going to do to build out your own support. Just comment that right there.
Comment what you're going to do, guys, and we would love to have dialogue in the comment section. Trust me, we're going to read and respond to every single comment.
Of course.
And yeah, there you guys have it. Episode 2 wrapped up in the books. Fatherhood 365. Thank you again, guys. Appreciate the support. Woo. Oh, man.